Welcome to the Success Partner Podcast. I'm Daya Naef, your host and founder of The Success Partner. On this show, we dive into the stories of attorneys, business professionals, and entrepreneurs who have navigated the ups and downs of building successful careers and businesses. From the strategies they've implemented to the challenges they've overcome, we're here to uncover the insights that can help you on your own journey to success. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the Success Partner Podcast. I am your host, Daya Naef, and today we have our guest, Patrick Baranowsky, who is a Certified Divorce Financial Analyst, Certified Cost Estimator and Analyst, and a Business Evaluator. So welcome, Patrick. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
So this is a lot of stuff. I'm excited to dive in and learn more about you and what you do. But go ahead and give us just a high-level introduction.
Sure. So again, my name's Patrick Baranowsky. I am certified. I've been providing support to family law in the field of financial analysts since I started my business about 10 years ago. Before that, I had about 20 years of experience as a management consulting, helping transform major corporations, doing financial analysis for corporations, for the government.
Yeah. So how'd you get into this?
Well, over a decade ago, I got divorced myself. And through the process of that, I found a great need to do, some pretty advanced analysis to help us settle the equitable distribution in my case. I was working with one of the top lawyers in the Northern Virginia area, and he kept telling me over and over again, it's like, nobody else does this. This is great. You should really box this up and sell it. And I worked with him a bit after the case was done. That's how I started up my business. And that was about 10 years ago. I've been working with a lot of the top lawyers across Northern Virginia. But at this point, I've also worked multiple states. I've even had a few international cases.
That's awesome. So we share that similarity. I'm also divorced and had to do a business divorce in the same nexus of proceedings, I guess. And there was only one valuation person. It was in Louisiana. I think there's only one valuation person in Louisiana, and it was very unheard of to do that at the time. We did not end up doing it, but I kept saying, well, we got to get into the nitty gritty. We have to separate this out, because running a small business and then having the household together and all that kind of stuff. It's like, how do we parse this out? But what do you like better? Do you like the business side better? You like the family law, matrimonial side better?
I think it's a bit of an apples and orange. And, I just like big challenges and I like having impact. So regardless on whether I'm doing a business valuation, I'm doing a trace or, any other type of equitable argument, supporting in trials, as long as I'm having impact, as long as I'm doing something that's non-trivial, I feel like I'm doing something that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we need to do in life to kind of get up every day. I know we've got to work and pay our bills, but when we're doing something that has some impact, it's really important. Tell me a little bit more about your use of AI technology. That's another passion near and dear to my heart.
Sure. So I think at this point, most people are familiar with generative AI and, like ChatGPT. So I'll maybe just pass over that. I mean, I think that it's a little bit more innovative and specific in the type of work I do. A lot of it pertains to e-discovery, which is, I guess, a newer term. It's been around for a bit, but AI has really been able to help that jump to a new level. So you take, for example, a divorce, and a typical divorce could easily produce over 1,000 pages of PDF documents for each spouse. So the question is, how is that going to be digested and assimilated? And going through those page by page by page, it just is not practical, especially at the rates that attorneys are going to charge. I mean, they know that it's just not practical to do that. So the traditional convention was to survey it, find some anecdotes, and then litigate from that perspective. So AI gives me an opportunity to go through all those PDFs and then use like character recognition and then other types of processing to create a centralized database of financial information. And then from that centralized database, it provides an opportunity to start doing like certain types of discovery and analysis. By the time I'm done with the first pass of I now have a database that includes all the financial data, and it's associated and created complementary data to determine like what types of finances they are, create those types of other keyword associations. And with that, the type of data mining, filtering, sorting that I can then do is really quite remarkable. What I had found pre-AI was that about 80% of the effort to go through and do financial analysis was spent on the upfront data gathering and data assimilation before you could even get to doing the analysis. What I found is that AI can allow me to cut that 80% of effort by as much as 90%. That is a huge savings to the clients, and it allows me to do things that otherwise are just simply not practical. They are time prohibitive, they are cost prohibitive to do. So there's, a value and a service that could be provided. And then the third part of that is quality. Because I am automating and letting the computer do a lot of the rote work, it takes a lot of the human error out of the calculus.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think like as data requests have grown, the process to sort the data has to be matched hand in hand. Yeah, so I remember the old days of litigation and having the banker's boxes and loading them up in the car and spending all this time at home with the Post-it notes and the paper clips. And it's like, okay, that's like way in the dark ages now.
Yeah, and one of the things that helped me is, I started my career as an electrical engineer. I actually have a master's in electrical engineering. And so,
Wow.
yeah, I love numbers. It's just, whatever it is that, can give me a numbers challenge. And that's important because there's a lot of software development, software integration that is required to have a tailored solution. What I've got is it's not a model. It's a set of models. It's a set of databases, and they're all integrated so that I can then automate and process together. That takes a level of technical know-how to do, and so my background has helped me a lot as well.
That's awesome. And then you also went and got an MBA.
Yeah, I got a micro MBA. I was doing, and that was as I was transitioning into the management consulting space. I spent about 4 years doing, corporate management, strategic transformation. I was working for one of the top management consulting firms in the world. I was doing a lot of work in North America, but I was also spending a lot of time in Europe, helping them do transformations with their businesses as well.
It sounds very glamorous, but I know it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it is. It was a lot of work. That was a lot of 16 to 24-hour days. It was fine for when I was in my 20s and early 30s, but it wasn't something I could do the rest of my life.
Yeah, I see that. Any good war stories or fun success stories you want to share?
As for the financial work that I'm doing now?
Yes.
Yeah, so there is actually quite a few. I think that where I find it most interesting is when I can find things that just otherwise were unfindable. Obviously when people are going through divorce, the walls go up. And so, I'm now being asked, all right, let's see what you can find. And in doing that, I won't give you just one story, but I'll kind of give you, some anecdotes across the board. I've been able to data mine to find evidence of adultery. I've been able to find hundreds of thousands of dollars of, like cash, quote, cash under the mattress. It's amazing. There was one case where I went back 10 years and I found where the husband had been like
Swirling it away
for 10 years. So they'd gone to see divorce, attorneys 10 years ago, figured out that they were going to, make it work.
Mm.
Immediately after that, he started posturing. He spent the next 10 years pulling, I think it was $250,000 of cash.
Wow.
And yeah, it's pretty amazing. You know, one of the stories that I also like to tell, there was a case where there was a couple that was getting divorced, and they both had similar incomes. And so the attorney was saying, all right, we're going to not worry about spousal support here. And the client was saying, I want spousal support. I want spousal support. And she wasn't really articulating so well. So the attorney was like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, first off, spousal support's mainly, to rehabilitate these days. And you're saying you want this indefinitely. And so she's like, no, I need. So I was talking to her, and the issue that she was bringing up was that she had disabilities, and the disabilities were getting worse. That was the feedback she was getting from her doctor. And so I was like, all right, well, let me do some research here. And I did all the economics and financials around her disability and what the costs were. And it turned out that even though their incomes were similar, her cash flow was far below that of her husband's. And so I helped, the attorney litigate this and went from, no, let's not pursue this, to effectively getting about $1 million of
Mhm.
of spousal support, like lifetime spousal support. And so those are the types of things where having an expert, like an attorney can't be an expert. The attorney's the attorney, right? The client can't be an expert. The client's the
Yeah.
client.
They don't know.
But when you bring an expert like myself, we can testify as an expert, and it provides a completely different perspective. But it's a completely tool in the quiver, a new tool in the quiver for the attorney to use to press issues that just talking to the client, putting the client on the stand themselves, really would not impress.
That's very interesting because it was a true, like, no not, apples and oranges story. It looked like the salaries were the same or the income was the same, and it was totally different once you peeked in there. That's awesome. Yeah. Like, how do people find you? Are you like in directories? Are you like referral, word of mouth?
Well, it's mostly word of mouth. So, especially in Northern Virginia, I've got a reputation at this point. I've worked with a number of the top attorneys in the area, and I've had impact in doing that. I'll get a phone call. There'll be a law firm I haven't even heard of before, but they heard about me at the water cooler, amongst the attorneys. I have a monthly meetup where I provide webinars, like 101 type of webinars. So people find me through that as well. I haven't done as much, or I haven't been as effective with my SEO, my search engine optimization for my website, my YouTube channel, LinkedIn, things like that. So really haven't gotten as much traffic from that. And I haven't done that much. I haven't done any advertising. So mostly it's been word of mouth at this point.
Yeah. That is the best way that referrals come. They're somewhat vetted and filtered. And when people come just straight to you from the internet, they may not be the ideal client for you. Great. I really appreciate you being on the podcast today. And any parting words?
Well, I'd say that my parting thought is think about diversity, for the case, whether you're an attorney or whether you're a client. Attorneys are great litigators. The financial analysts are the expert, analysts, and there's a need for both on the cases. Just recognize that, a diverse team, people can focus on what they need to focus on. I mean, one of the, one of the issues that happens frequently in a case is that the case progresses because there's just too much for the attorney to do. Give your attorney an opportunity to focus on the litigation, on the negotiations, on getting the case settled. Get the financial analyst in there to put the attorney in a position where they can negotiate from a position of power.
Yeah. Having all the information right there. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for being on the show today. Thank you, listeners of the Success Partner podcast. I'm your host, Daya Naef, and please subscribe and stay tuned.
Thank you.